They cut him into 14 pieces and scattered them the length of Egypt. His own brother did it. And that should have been the end of Osiris, forever. It wasn't. What happened after that murder is one of the strangest and most beautiful stories the ancient world ever told. It took a dead king and turned him into the single most important god in all of Egypt. And it handed every Egyptian who ever lived a promise they would cling to for 3,000 years. That death does not have to be the end. This is the story of Osiris, the first god to be murdered, and the first to come back. Stay with me, because the way he came back is stranger than any resurrection story you think you know. Before any of the blood, Osiris had everything. He was the king of Egypt, back when gods still walked the earth and ruled it directly. And he was a good one. The stories say he found his people living like animals, and he lifted them up. He taught them how to farm, how to grow wheat and barley from the black soil of the Nile. He gave them laws. He gave them the gods to worship. He took a people scraping in the dirt, and he handed them civilization itself. They loved him for it. And at his side stood Isis, his wife and his sister, one of the most powerful magicians the world of the gods had ever produced. Together, they were radiant, the golden couple at the top of the world. And someone was watching all of it, from the shadows, with a jealousy that had curdled into something much worse. His name was Set, Osiris's own brother, the god of the desert and the storm. And where Osiris was green and growing things, Set was the dry red sand, the chaos at the edge of the world. He looked at his brother's throne, and his perfect wife, and his adoring kingdom, and he decided he wanted it. All of it. So he made a plan. A patient, monstrous plan. Set built a box. Not just any box, a beautiful chest, carved and painted and inlaid, the most gorgeous thing anyone in Egypt had ever seen. And he built it in secret to one exact set of measurements, his brother's body, down to the inch. Then he threw a feast, a grand celebration, all the gods invited, Osiris in the place of honor. And near the end of the night, Set had the beautiful chest carried in, and he made everyone a playful offer. Whoever fits inside this chest perfectly can keep it. It became a game. One by one, the guests climbed in. Too short, too tall, too broad. The chest fit no one because it was never built for anyone in that room, except one man. Osiris, laughing, lay down inside, a perfect fit, and Set slammed the lid. Before Osiris could even cry out, his brother and his conspirators nailed the lid shut, sealed every seam with molten lead, and carried the chest down to the Nile. They threw it in and watched the river take the golden king away into the dark. Sealed in a box built to be his coffin. The first murder in the history of the world, and it was a brother's. But Set, as it turned out, had made one enormous mistake. He thought killing Osiris would be the end of him. He had forgotten about Isis. If you like the real myths told with all their teeth, subscribe and stay with me. There is a new one every week, and this channel only grows when these reach people who have not heard them. Now, what Isis did next is the heart of the whole story. When Isis learned what had happened, she did not collapse. She cut her hair, she put on the robes of mourning, and she went to work. She searched. That is the part people forget. She walked the whole length of Egypt and beyond, following every rumor, every whisper of a golden chest washed up on a foreign shore, and she did not stop. Her grief did not make her weak, it made her relentless, and eventually, in a distant land, she found it. The coffin had lodged inside a great tree that had grown up around it, and a king had cut that tree into a pillar for his palace, never knowing what was sealed inside. Isis brought her husband's body home, and for one moment it looked like the story might have a gentle ending. It didn't, because Set was not finished. A quick like genuinely helps this reach the next person, if you have a second. Because here is where it gets dark. Set found the body. And this time, he made sure. He tore his brother into 14 pieces, and he scattered them across the whole of Egypt, hiding each one in a different place. A piece in the desert, a piece in the marsh, a piece thrown into the Nile where a fish swallowed it. He spread the murder so wide that no one could ever undo it. There was no body left to bury. There was barely a body left at all. Any normal grief would have ended there. What could anyone do with that? Isis did the impossible. Again, she went back out, and one by one, across the entire country, she found the pieces. 13 of the 14. She was helped by her sister, and by a strange, jackal-headed god named Anubis, who took the broken pieces of Osiris and did something no one had ever done before. He wrapped them. He bound the body back together in linen with oils and resin and care, and he made it whole. He made the very first mummy. And then Isis, the greatest magician among the gods, spread her wings over her broken husband, and she breathed. Osiris opened his eyes, just for a while, just long enough. Isis brought him back across the border of death, and in that brief return, they conceived a son, Horus, who would one day grow up to avenge his father and take back the throne. But Osiris himself could not stay. He had been to a place no living thing returns from whole. He was changed. His skin had gone the green of new growth and the black of the fertile Nile mud. He belonged to death now. So he did not go back to his throne among the living. He went down, and he became a king again in the one place that needed one. The land of the dead. And here is the part that changes everything. Here is why Osiris was not a grim god of doom the way we picture death. Because Osiris had died and returned, he became living proof of the one thing every human being has ever wanted to believe, that the end is not the end. He was the god of resurrection. The Egyptians saw him everywhere, in the grain that is buried in the dark earth and grows back green, in the Nile that floods and recedes and floods again, in the sun that dies every evening and is reborn every dawn. Death, then life. Death, then life. Osiris was the promise inside that pattern. And so every Egyptian who died hoped for one thing above all, to become, as they put it, an Osiris. To follow the murdered king down into the dark, be made whole again, and rise. His story was not a tragedy they feared. It was the door they hoped to walk through. So let me ask you, because I want to know, is Osiris a god of death or a god of life? Tell me down in the comments, because with him, the honest answer is both. For 3,000 years, they painted him the same way. A king wrapped like a mummy, standing upright, holding the crook and the flail of a pharaoh, his face and hands the deep green of a thing that grows. The god who was betrayed by his own brother, murdered, torn apart, and put back together by love and magic. The god who went into death and came out the other side as its king. Not a monster, not a doom, a promise. If you want to meet the brother who murdered him, the story of Set is waiting for you next, and it is not nearly as simple as villain. Subscribe so you do not miss it, and I will see you there.